So we're working in Nomad Sculpt. I want to 3D print this. So I'm going to transform this into a file that I can print with my Anycubic resin printer. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so first things first, let's turn off post-process. Welcome back if you guys are joining me from Skillshare. Hopefully there's some folks that have been following this. From Nomad to the slicer to the printer, and probably I'm going to record the printing process as well. So we're going to go all the way through this. So first, just turn off post-process. We don't need all that detail and stuff like that. So we can bring the quality down a little bit. Keep the backdrop for now. Essentially, we just want to, actually we can get rid of it. Let's just get rid of the backdrop. We don't really need the cameras. Let's delete those as well. Do we need these lights? You can sometimes turn the environment up, and that way we don't need the lights, so we can get rid of the lights. All right, so these all have like these layers. So if you have layers, if you made layers, just flatten the layers. Just makes it easier. And these layers are just from details. So if you saw my my little companion video right after the class, I go over making it from the class to doing all these details and things like that. So I would highly suggest you watch that, especially if you did the tutorial. So the first thing I want to do is trim the feet. See how like janky the feet are? So, oops. So I want to trim the feet. Just hit front, make sure you're in orthographic. So make sure you go to this little camera and make sure you're in orthographic. That way you're not seeing any perspective distortion. And we'll just use trim, rectangle, and we just want to trim the bottom of the feet. So you just want to trim them straight like this. Boom. That's good. Looks like we need to trim these as well. So let's trim these as well. Okay, that looks good. Just so they're flat, you know? And I think I just want to print this all as one piece. So let's go back to Metcap. So let's go to this little sun thing and we'll turn it back to Metcap. And let's just paint. So we have the head, feet, arms, body. I'm just going to go back to white. Oh, I'm also going to change this from orange to like something dark. I don't like having a bright screen. So I'll just change it to something dark. Let me make sure you can still see it well. Okay. So, is this Metcap the right color? Why does it look so weird? Anyway, so the only thing that I want to change is I want to put, so the tongue and the teeth are very important. We can delete these eye darknesses, that black in there, because that's going to print. We don't really need anything black in there. If anything, we can maybe drip some paint or something in there, but we'll see. So these teeth, that's the most important thing. Let's solo the teeth. So let's tap on the teeth and hit solo. And let's paint them white. So I think what I want to do with the teeth is make a section so they'll easily go into the bottom part of the mouth. So what's the best way to do that? Let's use, let's add a box. So I want to add a box, and we can make a thin box and then put it around the bottom of the teeth, because that'll be easier to insert it into like the top part of the mouth. So I'm just flattening this box, and hopefully it'll make more sense once I kind of go. So just kind of, you just want to make like a supporting bar, and then we'll just bend it so it like bends with the teeth. And it's a little tricky because I tilted the head, remember? I tilted the head a little bit, so everything's going to be a little bit tilted. Okay, so essentially something like this, we can make it even more, actually we don't really need to make it more flat. So now, let's validate the box. Let's use move and symmetry. So if we're looking at the top, is this symmetrical? Why does it look not symmetrical? Let's make sure that we're using local. So if we're using local, that's gonna, because if you use world, it's gonna take the center of the project, but if you use local, it takes the center of this. That's why these dots are now perfectly symmetrical. Now let's turn on show line. So this is how you can see what's symmetrical. Whatever's on this side is on this side, so you don't get confused. Or so I don't get confused. Okay, so I'm gonna make move really big, and all we need to do is just push this so it kind of mimics the teeth. And then we can move it and redo it, kind of thing. So just like that, and it looks pretty good. Let's hit solo again and just see how deep it is. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. Whoops. When you're working in solo, you have to have the box and the teeth, so you have to touch them both. Whoops. And then if you want to work on just one, you have to tap it with your finger. And then you can just work on just one. So I'm gonna push it a little bit more, especially like out on the sides. Okay, because I want something like this. Still not really bent on the... All right, let's see if I can just push manually, make this thing work. There you go. So it's sort of like a denture. A denture is just like a false teeth, in case anyone doesn't know. I'm sure there's people that don't, or don't know it by that name. So now I'm just going to trim. Did that trim both sides? It did, but it's not really straight. Oh, I wish these were straight. I really, really, really wish these were straight. Makes me want to do it on a different version. But I have to do it on this version because that's just what we're doing. All right, so this looks pretty good, actually. So if I hit solo, it's in there. It's good. We can trim the pieces that we're not really going to see. So I'm just going to take lasso and just trim these pieces on the end. Okay. And then I think I'm just going to move that up a little bit and we should be good. So now we have the box and the teeth. Let's hit solo. All right, so this is good. So now when I glue this, this has a better, this will be better and much easier to put inside the mouth. All right, so we need to separate these two. So let's take these teeth, do split, and I'm just going to do a rectangle, and I'm just going to separate these two. So now this is its own thing, and I'm going to rename it bottom teeth. Okay. And then the box, and for now I'm just going to join that I don't know if I can use it for the bottom one. Okay, so the bottom teeth might be a little bit easier. So let's unsolo it. So let's take the bottom teeth. And I'm kind of thinking of a different solution. I'm trying to think of a different solution. So if I clone these, and what if I stretch them back? So what if I use stretch and then move this back like this? And what if I squashed it? So really what I'm trying to do is, oh, maybe I should just make the teeth a little bit thicker, because I've noticed when I print out things like this, I do run into some issues when the pieces are too small, and that's kind of what I don't want to happen. So I have this on top, which is fine, because the top teeth you're not really going to see up there, but the bottom teeth you're still going to see behind the teeth. So it's a little more tricky. It's a little more tricky. Let's get rid of that. Let's try something else. Oh, I think I have an idea. I think I might have an idea. Okay, so if we take the bottom teeth, let's take the head. Let's go to the materials, blending, and let's bring the head down like that. So I wonder if I can move all these teeth on the bottom. Okay, looks like I can. It's a little bit of a, it's a little annoying. What if I change this to local? What happens? Okay, so that works. So I'm going to put this tooth back. Symmetry, change this to local. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these teeth together at the bottom. I just have to be careful that I don't ruin them at all. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, I think. I'm going to add a box and make that support at the bottom as well. So let me just validate this box, shrink it up. Yeah, because I've had just too many issues where I'm trying to print things and they're just too small. And sometimes they even break. It's the worst. Okay, so let's use move. Symmetry is on. So let's just bend this. So I'm going to solo this and the bottom teeth so that I can make these correctly. Okay. Okay, looks good. I don't see any of this box in the front of the teeth. I can probably move it back a little bit more. I kind of wish I would have made it a little thicker even. But I think this will work. I don't want these jagged lines though, so I'm going to try to cut those. Why is that not working? Looks like I have... No, I don't have front-facing vertex. Let's try it this way. Maybe, no, let's try a rectangle. Rectangle usually works for me. Hey, that's better. I'm going to turn symmetry off so I can trim these and they don't try to match the other side. Trim them like this. Symmetry. It's always on when I don't want it on. Okay, I think that's actually pretty good. I think that's what I need. Okay. So bottom like this. So we'll join those. That should work. I could just make it one piece, but I don't think I need to do that. I'm going to save as, and this is Lychee print. So let's see what happens if I was to voxel remesh this at like 300. I just want to see how much of the detail is going to be gone. If I was to smooth this bottom out. Okay. No real need to do that. I just wanted to kind of see what the deal was. Okay, so we have the bottom teeth, top teeth. Save. Let's undo solo. Ooh, that's another issue though, is that there's not that much of the bottom part of the mouth. Forgot about that. Tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, so what I need to do is take the bottom teeth and separate. Where's the box? Okay, so this is the box. So the teeth can actually go back together. So what I need to do is, I'll take lasso. Lasso's not the cleanest, but, and trim the bottom of the teeth, and then take the box and trim the bottom of the box. I'll do that with a rectangle. Okay, so I just want to see how much space we're going to have there. There's not that much space. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. But I'm going to take move, I think. And I'm going to move these parts down. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to select... Oh, that was the other thing that I wanted to try, actually. There was another solution that I was thinking of. So I want to protect all these parts of the teeth. Okay, and then the rest, this move, I want to move. Okay, I think it still should be fine. Looks like there's a decent amount of space now. Okay, so that should be good. So I'm going to clear this. I really wanted this to be cleaner, but I guess it is what it is. I probably should have used cylindrical teeth. That probably would have been the better idea, instead of spherical. All right, but let's take a look at the base. That's important. The base actually looks good. This is a problem, though. This is a problem where the inside of the mouth and then this part comes out. That's a big issue. So what I need to do is take the box and move it up. I think that should be helpful. Because if you have any gap, then you're not going to be able to push it through or push it down. Even this doesn't really have to be. I keep touching the other thing. Even this doesn't have to necessarily be so low. Let's trim, let's turn symmetry off, and let's trim this. Okay, so something like that should work. So let's join these together, and we have the bottom teeth. How are the top teeth looking? Oh, it's actually the same thing, so I need to trim that on the top as well. Okay, that's better. Take a look at the back. I wish I had like an easier way to do it, but it's like I can just tell by looking at it that. Let me trim the whole top of this. That's probably better. I need to trim this part as well because it's going into the eye. Let me turn symmetry off. I can't have it going into the eye. And I can't have like, see this? See how this diagonal comes over this way? It needs to go straight up or it's not gonna, I won't be able to fit it in the print. So I'm gonna trim this as well. That way is okay. I wonder if I can just kind of smooth that out. You know what? I need to voxel remesh this. Is it going to do the whole thing? Let's separate. Find the box. Just remesh the box. Okay, I don't see any other problem areas. Looks like it should work. Okay, so now we can deal with the tongue. So the tongue is sort of a similar situation. So I'm curious if I don't know if I want a Boolean. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's turn this back to opaque. So the tongue, I'm going to clone. Let's make the tongue white as well. So the tongue I'm going to clone. So now with this tongue, I'm going to do a Boolean with the whole head. So I'm going to make it bigger and then move it back. And we can actually see what we're doing. I'm going to turn the head back to blending. So I'm going to name this one tongue X. So this will be the tongue that we Boolean from. So I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to make this whole section bigger. And actually, we can change this to blending as well. So now we can see inside, there's plenty of room for the other tongue. Even if I make this wider. There's plenty of room for the tongue, and it doesn't look like it interferes with the teeth part at all, I don't think. And I can move it back just to make sure that it doesn't. Okay. I'm going to move it up. And you know what? I'm going to stretch it a little bit more too. I'm going to stretch it and move it up like this. And I'm going to move it back. Okay, so I'm going to change this back to opaque. I'm going to change the head back to opaque. And we're going to take tongue X and head. Let's save first. So now I'm going to carve this shape out of the head. So we want to hide tongue X. And then we want to do a Boolean. Boolean. Okay, so now we have plenty of room for this tongue. So this tongue I'm going to clone, and I'm going to name that tongue X2 as well. So for this one, I'm going to change to blending. And this one I'm only going to make a little bit bigger. This is going to be like a nice little nestling spot for the other tongue. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Push it back a little bit so it's not interfering with the teeth. I'm going to change it back to opaque. So I'm going to do the same thing. Hide that tongue and then do a Boolean. So now we have plenty of space for the tongue. And just to check, let's change the head to blending. So we can see where the head is. Okay, so there's plenty of space for the tongue, which is great. The only other thing I should have done is okay, so let's put the head back to opaque. And now with the head, let's clone it, and this will be head X or mesh X. So, where are the arms? Oh, the arms are here. So what I want to do is, I want to Boolean the head from the arms. So let's do a quick save. And I might want to let's make 2 of these. Actually, let's make it bigger. Actually, no, I don't have to. I don't have to because it's just going to be one piece. So I don't need 2 of them. So I think I'm just going to trim, because the only thing I need to trim now is the head part from the arms and from the body. So I don't need to make it bigger. Let's just take this and the arms and Boolean this, Boolean, Boolean. So now the arms are cut there. And we'll do the same thing with mesh X1. So we'll take the head again and the body, and we'll hide the X1. And then we do another Boolean, and then it cuts from the body. Okay, so this is the head. Let's make sure that we label it. When I hide it, you can see, so what we did is I just cut it from the rest of the body. What is all this weird stuff? Let's see what all this weird stuff is. So there's the tongue. Oh, this is part of the body that I guess wasn't getting touched. That's okay. Let's just trim this with the lasso. We don't need this part. So we'll just take the lasso and trim that. That did not trim. Oh, there we go. Maybe I can just use rectangle. I prefer to use rectangle when I can. Okay, so that's the body. This must be part of the arms. So we'll trim, oh, let's turn symmetry off. So we'll trim that as well. So now let's bring the head back. So we'll bring the tongue back, that's good. We'll bring the head back. The head has space for the tongue, that's good. I'm going to smooth inside the mouth a little bit, just because why not? Smooth those little notches. Smooth that out, why not? Okay, it's looking good. All right, so these parts we don't really have to worry too much about. That's the body, that's the arms. We can join them together. The feet we can join together. They're pretty small, so I'm not too worried about like hollowing them. I'm not worried about voxel remeshing them together. I think they'll be fine. So this is the body. And I'm actually going to move the body up a little bit. Just because you can see those cut marks. So I move the body up a little bit. Everything else is trimmed. All we need to do now is, so we have the top teeth. I'm going to clone the top teeth. This is going to be top teeth X. So I'm going to change this to blending so we can see it. I'm going to change the head to blending so we can see it. And now I'm going to go to top teeth X. So with top teeth X, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Wait, why can't I see through it? What happened? Did I make the teeth? No, the teeth are opaque. Oh, I didn't bring, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so now we can see. It looks pretty good. Doesn't look like it's touching anything. It looks great. So all we want is that little bit of space around everything. So it's looking good. Do we want to move it backwards or forwards? Whoops. Of course. Okay, I think this looks good. I'm seeing space around everything, so I think that's all that we need. What is this though? That looks like, I'm trying to make sure that it's gonna fit. Top teeth X. Okay, yeah, I see now. So, it's a little, maybe I can stretch it this way. It's a little tricky. Okay, so I make it bigger. Maybe I just move it up a smidge and hope for the best. I mean, it should work. Worst case scenario, I might have to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take move, and we're on the top teeth X, and the only problem I see is that this piece, so the actual teeth is not as wide as that, so I'm going to move this actually. I'm going to move all of that. I think it's doing the same thing over here. Okay, so now we have some space. This should be good. All we're going to use this for is to carve out the space, so that's the only thing that I'm concerned with, is just making sure that there's enough space. What is that? I don't want there to be like a gap in there at all. Okay, so I want to be able to see the original teeth. See all this space here? I just want to be able to see the original teeth. And that it will fit. And so far it looks like it will fit. So hopefully it will fit. It better fit. I don't mind if it's a little big. I'm okay with that. Okay, I think it's good. So essentially all you do is make the teeth a little bit bigger so you can carve them out of the mouth. Did I already do the bottom one? I didn't. So top teeth X, let's turn back into opaque. You have to remember that. Let's turn the head back to opaque. So we have head and top teeth X, and we'll hide that part. And then we'll do the Boolean. Let's take a look. What is all that? Why is all that weird? Why is all that weirdness? So it looks like there's a little bit of an issue with it. I'm not sure what it is, but what I'm going to do is voxel remesh this to get these teeth together. And then I'm going to do the Boolean. So that should alleviate, okay, great, perfect. That alleviated that problem. And the teeth look like they should fit. Oh, the only thing that doesn't look like it will fit is this little section here. That little section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the tooth. So I'm going to trim that, trim whatever that is, trim whatever this is. I think this side is good, but I'm going to trim that also, just in case. So if I go back to solo, yeah, this looks like it should fit in there now. And there's a little bit of room here, so all this other stuff should fit in there perfectly. Shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to turn on blending just so I can see, have a better look at like what we're dealing with. I'm going to take head, I'm going to take move and move this back a little bit just to be sure. but I think everything should fit. Okay. Opaque. I think everything should fit. Okay, so the bottom teeth, I'm just going to rename this. Bottom teeth, let me put a space. I just want to be clear with everything. Clone it. This will be bottom teeth X. Bottom teeth X we can change to blending just so we can see through it. And then let's change the head to blending as well. And then go back to bottom teeth X. So this is what we're going to use to make the mold, the space for our teeth. Yeah, that's the only issue. It expands in a certain way that is a bit annoying. And it might also be, no, I don't think it's the pivot point. I don't think that will really make a difference. I can try to move that, but I don't think that will help. Well, let's see. If I move the pivot point, what if I just do this and then do this? It's a little tricky. Okay, that actually looks decent. I see spaces all around. I want to see where the problem parts might be. Okay, another option that we can do is clone this. So we have one kind of above and one below. Not below, but like, so we have space in front and then space behind. That might be the best bet. I just want to make sure that there's enough space for them. And it looks like there is. But again, what's important is we look at these sides and make sure that they are going to fit in. It looks like it should. So I'm going to take these two and put them back to opaque. And then join them. Do a quick save. And then I'm going to take the mesh, which is the head, the bottom teeth X, hide that, and then do a Boolean. Oh, you know what? I forgot to change the head back to opaque. Okay, so Boolean. All right. So now, oh, again. So I need to take the bottom teeth and I need to voxel remesh them. Oh. Let's go back to right before I join them. Okay, they're back to opaque. Perfect. So I want to, bottom teeth is 19.1K. Bottom teeth. Let's voxel remesh them together instead. I'm going to do like 379. Okay, so now let's see if that works better. Boolean. Oh, forgot to put the head back. Boolean. See how many times I have to Boolean. Okay, it looks like everything should fit. So if I take my teeth and kind of move them around, it looks like everything should fit okay. I'm going to take solo. The only thing that might be an issue is some of this, but you know what? I can probably just trim that I can probably trim that manually if I need to. All this stuff I can kind of whittle down manually if I need to. I think it's going to be okay. So let me do solo. Still looks good. Everything still looks good. So bottom teeth, top teeth, mesh is the head, tongue is separate, and I don't even think I need anything to set the tongue in place. I think the tongue is good, and I really don't need anything to set any of the teeth because they'll just fit in those slots. Head, body. So this is going to be Lucky. Wait a minute, what happened? Lucky top teeth. I don't know why I put that little dash there. I'm always worried that if I do, oh, what am I doing? I'm always worried if I put a dash, it's gonna like get messed up. Something's not gonna be able to read the dash or something like that. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. This is gonna be Lucky tongue, head. I'm labeling everything because sometimes it's real easy for things to get lost in transferring and things like that. Lucky body. Okay, so everything looks good. No tail, nice little butt. Lucky body, lucky head. Do I feel the need to? No, I'm just gonna join them. Bottom teeth, top teeth, tongue. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now we have he's ready to go to the slicer. And I use Lychee slicer. So the next step is we're going to send all these to the slicer. They're all going to go in separate parts. And that's how we're going to prepare it to get printed. So let's see. So we're going to, is it STL? I keep forgetting. Or OBJ. Is it OBJ or STL? I think it's STL. So we want to do one at a time. So I'm going to export STL to my computer. And I'm going to save it as, I'm just going to make a little file with all these separate STLs. But I have to rename them because they come up as like just Lucky Print, the name of the project. So I have to go ahead and just rename them. Lucky top teeth, I think that was. And Lucky bottom teeth. So I have to do the same thing. STL selected. We don't really need vertex colors. Export STL to my computer. Lucky low teeth. Okay. Good. Now we take the tongue. Selected, export STL. And the reason you do them all separate is because when you slice it, you slice everything separately. This way you can move things around on the slicer so it gets printed in the specific way that we need. That's why we can't just print it all at once. Also, if we print it all at once, they'll be stuck together. So you have to print them separately. Lucky tongue. And body. STL, SPL. All right, so then we have the body. Lucky body. All right, so we have those. They're in a little folder. So the next video, we're just going to come back and Lucky STL. I'm going to put them in my folder labeled STL files. And when we come back, so we'll deal with those files in that folder, and the rest will be on the computer. So I will see you in the next video, part 2, where we go to, actually that wouldn't be part 2, would it? I'll see you in the next video slicing lucky.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth with Nomad Sculpt, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.